When Menguang devoured the fire elf Ifrit, he did not digest him completely, but stayed in the stomach space to play chess with Storm Dragon. But even so, the great sage still analyzed Ifrit, allowing Menguang to possess many of his skills, and even summon to fight. Enlan also means this: he doesn't intend to digest He Wuimao, he just wants to analyze some of He Wuimao's skills. Such as mana release, intuition, riding, anti-magic power, leadership temperament, Wind King enchantment, Sword of Oath of Victory. Master Enlan, the analysis has been completed. Almost instantly, Paimon completed the analysis. But also, the great sage can analyze the high-ranking fire elf Ifrit, not to mention the psycho core that has evolved twice. Master Enlan, I have reintegrated the abilities you acquired this time. Magic Release and Godhead are integrated to evolve into the inherent ability Divine Release. Perception, Riding evolved into Dragon Riding Searing, Tempest, Magic Power evolved into Magic Attack Ineffective, Leadership and Dragon Spirit Domineering were integrated to evolve into the inherent ability Dragon Emperor. Domineering, Wind King Barrier and Invisibility are integrated to obtain the inherent ability Infinite Blindness, and the Noble Phantasm Sword of Oath of Victory evolves into the inherent ability Sacred Tool Summoning. The last is the Great Holy Grail and the Little Holy Grail. After digestion and absorption, all the magic power has been converted into divine power, and a new inherent ability Infinite Divine Power is born. Paimon used the ability creation in King of Fengzhou to evolve Black Hairless skills, and then created new abilities with the integration and separation and attribute transformation of his Sen's core. In this way, an Aeon's attribute interface has surpassed the peak moment of Menguang. Name, Enlan. Race, Star Dragon God. Asylum, the grace of friendship, the protection of the swordsman. Magic, Chi fighting, elemental magic, physical magic, dragon magic, elf magic, demon magic, summoning magic. Sanity core, Manas Paimon, thinking acceleration, analysis and appraisal, parallel calculation, chant breaking, all kinds of things, unity and separation, future attack prediction, food chain, thought control, law control, attribute transformation. Inherent ability, Dragon Emperor Domineering, Infinite Divine Power Release, Divine Perception, Divine Tool Summoning, Omnipotent Change, Infinite Blur. Ultimate abilities, God of the Void, God of Shadows, King of Fengzhou, King of Immortality. Azathoth Soulstorm, Void Collapse, Imaginary Space, Dragon Seed Liberation Searing Heat Storm, Dragon Seed Nucleation Searing Heat Storm, Dragon Seed Riding Searing Heat Storm, Time-Space Domination, Multidimensional Enchantment. The Nameless Mist, Dark Domain, Shadow Extraction, Shadow Swap, Shadow Save. Shub-Nigurath, Ability Creation, Ability Copying, Ability Gifting, Ability Preservation. Deep Ones, Infinite Regeneration, Infinite Resurrection, Eternal Life, Life Intake, Life Bestow. All Resistances, Invalid Pain, Invalid Corrosion, Invalid Current, Invalid Temperature Change, Invalid Physical Attack, Invalid Magic Attack, Invalid Natural Influence, Invalid Status Abnormal, Invalid Mental Attack, Invalidate Holy Demon Attack. Chapter 34 Mimicry. Hairless Black. After integrating his abilities, Enlan clearly felt that he had become stronger again. Not only has the skills become more and more powerful, but even his own divine power has become infinite. Immediately, he turned into a black and hairless appearance, even the color of his hair and eyes were exactly the same. It's just that the clothes he wears are not armor, but a more modern black camisole and shorts, black boots on his slender thighs, and a black sweater. This outfit is exactly what the Shinjuku Phantom event in the FGO game looks like. Not only is it fashionable, but it is also full of air. Sure enough, women's clothing is cool for a while, and women's clothing has been cool all the time. And Lan may not even find out that even if he has regained his gender, it is no longer nonsense, but he still likes to transform into a girl and wear women's clothes. After imitating the black and hairless appearance, he asked Paimon to make a black motorcycle, and then used the riding skill to enchant it to transform it. After the transformation was completed, I got on the motorcycle, twisted the accelerator, and rushed down from the Liudong Temple mountain. The motorcycle after the magic reform was very fast, blasting the streets all the way, and I don't know how many skeleton soldiers were killed, and finally came to Matu's house. Here, he saw human beings turned into stone statues. These stone statues are wrapped in countless chains, and each expression is full of fear. Saber. An angry voice came from behind, and then a sickle was cut off at his head. Obviously, the other party regards himself as black and hairless. Lan turned around and clamped the scythe with just 2 fingers. It turned out to be Lancer, Medusa. Lan saw the person coming, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The one in front of him was the teacher he found for Yeshiu and Yun Ying. My attack. Medusa's expression changed when she saw an Aeon scythe between her 2 fingers. She knows Saber's strength, which is very terrifying, but it is absolutely impossible to be so strong. She wanted to retract the scythe, but found that an Aeon's 2 jade fingers, as slender as green onions, were as strong as a vice, and no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't pull them out. Don't struggle, come in. Lan directly swallowed her into the imaginary space with one move Soul Storm. Paimon, clear the polluted energy in her body and make her return to normal. Give it to me. The first teacher has been caught, it is time to catch the second teacher. Lan got on his motorcycle again and headed for Tosaka's house. Just before he reached his destination, a red light suddenly flashed across the sky in the distance, and then it turned into a rain of arrows and fell towards him. Look for a beating. Aeon's face changed, and after stopping the motorcycle, he raised his right hand. Dragon Vein Destruction Cannon. The divine power turned into a golden dragon, directly destroying all the arrows, and then flew to the attacker's location. Boom! With a violent explosion, the entire Fuiuki city was shaken. Tisk tisk, Kleiman's skills are not bad. Aeon's mouth twitched, obviously satisfied with this move. That's right, this move is exactly the profound move that King Meng obtained after he devoured the awakened demon King Kleiman. There are actually many similar tricks, because Meng Wang has swallowed too many existences, and these skills are generally not displayed on the attribute panel. The same is true for Lan. After integrating the Mo King skill tree, he has all the skills of Mo King, as well as the skills that he devoured himself. For example, dungeon monsters, and kings who upgrade the world alone, they also have skills. There are so many skills that Lan can't use them all. A teleport came to the center of the explosion. At this time, the attacker was already scarred and attached to the ground and lost his ability to move. Lan didn't talk nonsense, and directly swallowed it into the imaginary space, allowing Paimon to remove the polluted energy from his body and restore him to a normal servant. That's right, this guy is the second teacher he's looking for, Archer Emi Yashiro. Now that the teachers have been caught, it is time to go back. Lan rode a motorcycle towards where Yeshiu and the others were. At this time, the 3 Yeshiu were constantly destroying the skeleton soldiers. These skeleton soldiers are neither strong nor weak, but they are very suitable for LV1 novices like them. When Lan returned, all 3 looked wary. Why, you didn't know me after leaving for so long? Lan said angrily. Why have you changed again? Yeshiu said speechlessly. How do I look now? Is it beautiful? Are you excited? Lan asked in a sexy and enchanting pose. Cough, can you be more serious? Yeshiu turned his head with a blushing face. When Sumuchin saw this scene, she immediately stretched out her small hand in jealousy and pinched Yeshiu again. Master and Lan, have we found our master? Let me see how strong she is. Yunying really wanted to see the so-called master. If she is not strong enough, she will not admit it. Slightly stronger than you, enough to teach you. And Lan said with a smile. Immediately, he released Kuro no Mao, Medusa, and Emi Yashiro, who were trapped in the imaginary space. Now the polluted energy in their bodies has been removed and it has returned to normal. The faces of the three of them were a little emotional. They didn't expect that the Holy Grail War would turn out like this. Now that their masters are dead, it is time to return to the throne of heroes. Don't rush back, the three of you, I saved you, you should have something in return, right? At this moment, Enlan suddenly spoke up. The three looked at Enlan, and their expressions became a little strange. Because an Ian's current appearance is black and hairless, just like Saber Artoria. No, not exactly the same. Because Artoria, who has returned to normal, has become the king of dumb hair again, and is no longer black and hairless. Not only her, but even Medusa has transformed into a girl form. This is what she looked like when she was a lancer, with a black cloak, holding a sickle, and wearing white silk legs. It was particularly attractive. Their memories of becoming shadow followers did not disappear, and they knew the horror of the people in front of them. Arteria took the lead and asked, "What do you want in return?" "Be a teacher and help me teach my students." And Lan went straight to the topic. Emi Yashiro shook his head and said, "But our master is dead. Without the body contaminated by the black mud of the Holy Grail, we cannot stay in this world for a long time as spiritual bodies. I will give you the body and take you to other worlds, so as to avoid the investigation of the inhibitory force. You only need to pass on the skills you are good at to my family." And Lan said and pointed to Yeshiu and the others next to him. The three of Arteria looked at each other, and then Medusa took the lead and said, "I promise you, instead of returning to the heroic spirit throne, it is better to go to another world to see. The servant is not a heroic spirit, but a soul clone that descended from the heroic spirit in response to the Holy Grail. When the Holy Grail War is over, this clone will disappear and become a memory. And Lan can take them out of inhibitions and go to other worlds. In other words, they can get rid of the heroic spirit and become independent individuals. This temptation is huge for their servants." Chapter 35 Medusa, or Anna. We promise to. Whether it's to repay the debt, or to get out of the grip of inhibitions. Artoria and Emi Yashiro finally agreed. Is this right? You are only a spirit body now, and you are not a complete soul. After you have completed your soul and recovered your physical body, you can also join my family. And Lan showed a happy smile. The singularity of coming to Xingyu world this time not only helped Yeshiu and the others to find their master, but maybe they also got 3 powerful family members. I take the liberty to ask, what do you mean by family? What exactly do you exist? Arteria asked with a serious expression. I'm a god from another world. Family members can be understood as believers, messengers, and family members of God in the human world. God will give the family members a kind of existence called favor, so as to develop their own potential and become strong. And Lan introduced briefly. After the 3 of Arteria heard it, they were extremely horrified. Among the 3, Medusa once lived in the age of God and had seen the real God. Although Artoria is the legendary King Arthur, the so-called fairy of the lake she saw was actually just an elf, not a real god. During the period of King Arthur, the age of gods had already ended, but some of the mysteries left over from the age of gods were still preserved. As for Emi Yashiro, he is a person from the future, and he has never seen a god. Those gods who responded to the call of the Holy Grail and came to participate in the Holy Grail War as servants were not real gods, they were just a clone of God. For example, Merlin, he was obviously not dead, but he could be summoned by the Holy Grail. In general, the setting of the type month is very troublesome, and it is also very contradictory in some places. But to say that the real God has always been there, it is the so-called inhibition, Alaya and Gaia. Suddenly, Yunying came to Medusa, looked at her and said, "Little one, you are the master and land found for me. You don't look very strong." Medusa glanced at her and waved the sickle in her hand. Yunying also did not show weakness, and the swept musket pierced like a dragon. Before everyone could react, the two started fighting. Yunying's strength is good, equivalent to a level 4 adventurer in the wrong world, but Medusa's strength is equivalent to a level 5 adventurer. Enlan shook his head, knowing whether to win or lose this match without looking at it. The heroic spirits in the Xingyu world are very strong, especially in melee combat, and even the melee level of the archers is very high. Artoria's strength is equivalent to the top level of LV5 in the wrong world, and it is infinitely close to level 6. Medusa and Emi Yashiro are equivalent to adventurers who have just been promoted to level 5. If it were Hercules, his strength would definitely be LV6, and he could even match LV7 with the 12 trials. Of course, the combat power mentioned here does not include the noble phantasm. Or take Orario as an example, her melee strength is definitely not as good as that of a level 6 adventurer in the wrong world, but if she releases a noble phantasm, even a level 7 ODA can't stop her. The same is true for Emi Yashiro, who has opened the infinite sword system, which can also threaten LV7 adventurers. This is the perversion of a servant, noble phantasm. Sure enough, after fighting Medusa for more than 100 rounds, Yunying began to fall behind. Her fire-grabbing gun is very strong, but unfortunately she is too young to practice it at home. Sure enough, after a few more moves, Medusa used the scythe to fly away the swept gun in her hand, then caught it with her backhand, and pressed it against Yunying's neck. "I lost, and you will be my master from now on." Yunying, who failed, was not depressed, but smiled, and recognized Medusa. Medusa was stunned for a moment, and after reacting, she said, "You have good strength, but you have too little actual combat experience. I believe you will surpass me in the future. Stop talking about business, we should go back." Enlan stood up to interrupt the situation. Yunying and Medusa met and smiled, and the two women could be regarded as not acquainted with each other. "By the way, should I call you Medusa, or Anna?" Enlan asked suddenly with a smile. "Call Anna," Anna replied. In fact, she doesn't like the name Medusa, so she likes to use the pseudonym Anna. "My name is Enlan, your name is Anna, and your identity will be my sister from now on," Enlan said with a smile. Anna was stunned for a moment, her face flushed slightly. After teasing the girl, Enlan activated time and space control and left here with everyone. Orally, after returning home, Enlan briefly explained the background, cognition, and setting of the wrong world to the three of Artorias. After the three of them listened, they also became curious and longing for this world. "I didn't expect that there is such a different world. It seems that life in the future will not be too boring." There were 3 more people in the family at once, and the room was obviously not enough. To this end, the first thing Enlan did after his return was to buy a house. This time, he came to the vicinity of the Istria family, bought a piece of land, and planned to build a large villa here, and then became a neighbor with the Istria family. This piece of land is more than 7,000 square meters, equivalent to the size of an international standard football field, and it is enough to build a villa. The price of the whole land is 120 million wallis, which is very expensive. After all, this is Uluru, the center of the world, and a bustling central area, so it must be expensive. Fortunately, Enlan has money and doesn't care. After the purchase, the next step is to build the house. The house can't be built in a day or two, so during this time, Arturia and the others can only be wronged and temporarily stay in the hotel. As for the manpower to build the house, he did not go to the Gubanyu family because it was too expensive. What you want to build yourself is a modern villa, and the architects of this world will certainly not. It's better to use summon magic, summon some demons and elves to fight, and build it yourself. Just like playing a game, the real version of Minecraft. As for building materials, there is no need to buy them at all, a material creation skill will solve all the problems. While Enlan was busy with the house, Yeshiu and the others had already taken Artoria and the others to the dungeon. After entering the dungeon, Yeshiu learned spear skills from Anna and Yuning at the same time. The two women are not stingy, and they all teach seriously. Yunying even gave Yeshiu her fire-grabbing spear, which also moved Yeshiu very much. On the other hand, Shiro Emiya was also seriously teaching Sumachin the archery skills. Although Artoria is saber, she has a very high vision and can use all kinds of weapons. Yeshiu, Yunying, and Sumachin are all learning and growing rapidly. For a time, the atmosphere of the Enlan family was also developing in a positive direction, becoming very united and mutual help just like the Loki family. At the same time, Psycho Pashima also followed the Astria family into the dungeon and started the first expedition. On the way, Kagaya also taught Pashima Psycho swordsmanship very carefully. Chapter 36 The Nightmare on the 27th Floor. In the days that followed, Enlan was busy with the construction of a new settlement for the family. After Yeshiu and the other three had mentors, their growth rate increased several times. Every day they came back from the dungeon to update their favors, their stats would increase a lot. At this speed, it won't take long for them to be promoted to level 2. Enlan is too lazy to care about them now, he has done enough for them, and he will see them in the future. In the newly purchased station, the original buildings have been completely demolished, and the surrounding area is also surrounded by curtains to prevent people from being peeked. Enlan uses the ability of the God of Shadows to summon his own shadow soldier, the Minotaur. 300 strong Tauren were the most suitable for building houses. The style of the villa to be built this time is similar to the one in the anime version of Swallow the Stars that is integrated with technology. In the future, all household appliances will be intelligent, and there will be virtual projection, which is called enjoying life. So in addition to building the house, he has to lay out complicated cables. It's just that he forgot one thing, that is the nightmare event on the 27th floor. At this time, the 27th floor of the underground city. Encouraged by the Dark family, the eccentric white-haired ghost Oriwa's actor actually triggered a suicide-style monster return. The so-called monster return actually transfers the hatred of monsters to others. In the first season of the anime, Giannule family did this to the male protagonist Belle's team at a time of crisis. It's just that the white-haired ghost is more ruthless, and directly pulls the floor owner over. As a result, all the intermediate level adventurers on the 27th floor, as well as the Dark Familia themselves, were all wiped out by the floor master. This layer directly turned into purgatory on earth, with blood flowing into rivers. When such a thing happened, the guild and all the family members of Orario were alarmed. All the high-level families who were on the expedition were sent back, including the Astria family. The guild handed over the task of investigating the whole incident to the Astria family. Alissi knew the seriousness of this incident, so Psycho asked Pashima to return to her family first, and then brought Liu, Kagaya, and Rai. Ra and Niz went to the 27th floor together. Compared with the original work, the appearance of Enlan has greatly improved the strength of the Astria family. Arashi is already level 5, and the family has also defeated the floor master on the 27th floor, so they think they can solve it even if they encounter danger. What they didn't expect was that this time they were going to face a destroyer even more terrifying than the floor master, Juggernath. Kazu's Psycho returns home, but finds a strange woman at home. Blonde and blue-eyed, he looks only about 16 years old, with a beautiful appearance, and he exudes an air of superiority. Who are you? Why are you here? Psycho Dushima asked cautiously. I'm Orario Pendragon. Although I haven't joined the Inland family, I should belong to your family. The blonde girl introduced herself. Pendragon. Psycho Pashima was surprised. Anyone who was a little familiar with European history knew what the surname represented. Obviously, during the time when he was not in the family, the gods of his own family went to other worlds to be on the street again. Do you know where Inland-sama is? Kazuhime Psycho asked again. He is building a house at the construction site. Because of our arrival, it is no longer possible to live here. He bought a new piece of land and is building a new family residence. Orario said. Thank you. Kazuhime Psycho nodded, turned, and left. At the construction site of the familiar station, Enlan is directing the Tauren to work. Suddenly, he saw Psycho Pashima coming. Aren't you in the Astria clan? Why did you come back? Enlan asked in confusion. Arashi and the others have gone to the 27th floor to investigate things, and they may encounter danger, so let me come back first. I'm here to update the favor and see the growth during this period. Psycho Pashima explained to him. 27th floor. And Ian's eyes narrowed, thinking about the destruction of the Astria family in the original book. What's wrong? Psycho Pashima was a little puzzled when she saw the change in Ian's expression. You are here to help me supervise the construction of these Tauren. I'll go to the dungeon first, and I'll give you an update when I get back. Enlan left quickly without waiting for her to respond. Go under the Tower of Babel and enter the underground city. Enlan let go of his speed directly, turning into a streamer and heading towards the 27th floor. The monsters and adventurers encountered along the way could not even see him. At the same time, the destroyer Juggernaut has been released, and has also been hit with the Astria familiar. If Alissi hadn't risen to LV5, they would have been wiped out by the group. This super monster is the terrifying existence responsible for destroying adventurers. Therefore, its damage to adventurers should exceed that of the floor master. The speed is fast and the damage is high. Even LV4 adventurers can easily kill them in seconds. Most importantly, it also has anti-magic armor. I saw Juggernaut came to Lila in an instant, and Lila was too late to react, and was instantly cut off by laziness. Lila. Alyssa's eyes were red, but there was absolutely nothing she could do. Are you going to die? Damn. Enlan. The weapon promised to me, hasn't been given to me yet. Lila fell to the ground, her body was broken in two, her internal organs were scattered on the ground, and blood was constantly flowing from the corners of her mouth. It's not over yet. After Lila, Niz by her side was also beheaded. What? Alice lost her usual calm, picked up her weapon, the Crimson Order, and frantically attacked Juggernaut. Liu and Kagaya did the same, and both lost their minds. But their attacks were completely useless against the Juggernaut with the anti-magic armor. The most important thing is that Juggernaut's speed is too fast, so fast that they can't touch each other. Next, Alice and Kagaya also fell in a pool of blood. Liu was completely stunned, his eyes seemed to have lost their brilliance. Go, go, go. On the verge of death, Alice commanded Liu with the last of her strength. Tears welled up in Liu's eyes, and she turned to run away. But Juggernaut didn't let her go, and quickly caught up with her. Seeing that Liu was about to be poisoned, Arashi, who was lying on the ground, closed her eyes in despair. Bang! With a loud bang, Liu did not die, but Zaganat flew upside down and slammed into the wall. Out of the corner of Arashi's eyes, she saw Liu being protected by a strange boy in her arms. Sorry, I am late. The boy exuded a terrifying breath all over his body, and said to the girls full of guilt. Liu stared blankly at the boy, a little bewildered. Chapter 37 Soul Secret Art, Resurrection. An Ian's appearance at the moment is the one after his gender has been restored, and it is also his original appearance. But Liu and the others had never met, so they didn't know that Enlan was in front of them. Enlan didn't explain, but used Soul Storm to put the bodies and souls of the four daughters of Alyssa, Kagaya, Lila, and Niz into the imaginary space. Then, he turned his gaze to Jagannatha. The body is more than 3 meters high, the arms are too slender to fit the huge body, the equally slender legs are inverse joints, the body has almost no muscles, and the skinny body is covered by a shell that looks like an armor, and the waist sticks out. Not to mention the 4-meter-long hard tail. The head is completely like the skeleton of a beast, and deep in the 2 empty eye sockets, there are blood-like red light groups. This appearance is like the existence in a horror movie, and it looks extremely terrifying. And Ian's arrogance exploded instantly, pressing it to the ground. But at the moment he shot, the dungeon suddenly became restless. Jagannatha, who had been forced to the ground by the domineering pressure, seemed to have been strengthened in some way, his body turned pitch black, and he actually stood up under the domineering pressure. Hatred. Enlan frowned slightly, not expecting such an accident. It was the dungeon's hatred of the gods, who had confined her to such a place. Because Enlan has become a god, his magic power has also advanced to divine power, so the moment he uses his divine power, the dungeon senses it. To kill Enlan, the dungeon fortified the Jagannatha. If other gods are here, they may die, but I am not the god of this world. For the hatred of the dungeon, Enlan dismissed it. The opposite Jagannatha became bigger again because of the strengthening. Enlan didn't hesitate, and directly took out the sword of Oath of Victory. You don't even need to liberate your real name, just swing a sword. The golden brilliance turned into a shock cannon, directly annihilating the Jagannatha. Not only that, the light cannon directly penetrated the 27th, 26th, and 25th floors. There is a kind of protection mechanism. I don't recommend destroying the entire dungeon today. Enlan said domineeringly. This is obviously for the dungeon. He is not the god of this world, and he will not be forced to return to the heaven if he uses divine power. A bona fide god who can wreak havoc on dungeons. Not to mention that Enlan is still at the level of the god of creation. If he uses the energy of void collapse, he can destroy the entire world of earth and wrong. And Ian's provocation made the dungeon even more angry and hated, but she was still obedient and did not activate the protection mechanism. She never thought that there would be an alien god in this world, not restricted by rules. But thinking about it, there is not so much hatred, because there is no hatred between foreign gods and her. The one who has hatred against her is the god of this world. Sure enough, it seems that I figured this out, and the dungeon returned to peace. The pierced places on the 27th, 26th, and 25th floors were also slowly recovering, and the protection mechanism did not appear. Liu looked at the scene in shock, a little overwhelmed. But soon she thought of her companion and searched everywhere, but even the body was missing. Enlan put away the sword of vowed victory, came to her and said, "Let's go out first." Liu looked at Enlan dully, and finally nodded. On the way back, Liu didn't say a word, and the whole person seemed to have lost hope. After the two came out, they saw Astrea. All the gods of Orario knew about such a big thing in the dungeon. What the Dark family did this time has touched the bottom line of the guild and the gods, and for this reason, they have already planned to launch a final crusade against the Dark family. Liu, what about Alyssa and the others? Astrea had a bad premonition in her heart after seeing Liu. Dead, dead, all. When Liu said this, he couldn't go on. Tears kept flowing, and the voice was choked up. Astrea fell to the ground, feeling the world spinning. At this time, Enlan suddenly stood up and said, "Don't be sad, they can still be saved." "You, who are you?" Astrea looked at Enlan, not recognizing it at all. "This is not the place to talk, go to your clan first," Enlan said to her. Astrea looked at Liu, as if asking her. Since Lan came back with Liu, Liu must know something. He saved me, I should be able to believe it. Liu nodded. After hearing that, Astria first thanked Lan, and then took him back to the family. Returning to the family, without waiting for Astria to speak, Lan took the lead in setting up a layer of enchantment. When Astria saw this scene, she was taken aback. Enchantment magic? No, what Lan used just now was not magic, but divine power. You god of death? Why can you use divine power? Astria exclaimed. Liu was also shocked, not expecting Lan to be a god. I'm not the god of your world, so the rules you made can't restrain me. As for why I save Alicia and the others, it's because we are friends. Lan explained. Friend. Astria and Liu were both stunned. Do they have Lan as a friend? They are always together and have never seen Lan. I should probably speak to you in this way. Lan suddenly transformed into the girly appearance she used to be. Lan. At this moment, the two women finally understood. You guy, you're actually an alien god. Astria didn't know how to describe her mood at the moment. I hope you can keep it a secret, and I won't do anything to destroy your world. Lan assured the two girls. It's okay to keep it a secret, but you said you saved Alicia and the others, is that true? Astria asked again. Certainly. Lan released the girls from the imaginary space as he spoke. The injured bodies were all restored to normal. Even the beheaded Lila and the beheaded Naz were completely restored. They just recovered their bodies, not souls. Astria saw the problem at a glance. Don't worry, the soul needs to be repaired too. Lan also released their restored and regenerated souls, performed the soul secret technique, and returned to their bodies. Seeing this scene, Astria and Liu were both excited. In the expectant gaze of the two girls, the four girls, Arashi, Kaguya, Lila, and Naz, all opened their eyes one after another. Welcome back. Lan looked at the four girls and smiled slightly. However, Lila suddenly said, Lan, why are you dead? This sentence immediately made Liu and Astria, who were sad, laughed, while Ian's face was black. Chapter 38 All LV2. After Liu and Astria told Alice everything, the girls realized that Lan was a god from another world and saved them. Alice also understood that the boy who rescued Liu when she was dying was the true form of Lan. BD, you are actually a god, no wonder you have so many skills, and you can also forge weapons. Lila immediately launched a small fist at Lan and punched you in the chest. Sister Lan. No, it should be my younger brother. No matter what, I have to thank you for saving us. Alice thanked sincerely. You're welcome, you are the first friends I made when I came to this world. Isn't it right to save my friends? Lan waved his hand and said it was right. We're being hypocritical, so Lan, can you show us what you look like? Kaguya said at this time. When Lan rescued the scene in the dungeon, she was already dead, so she didn't see his appearance. Hearing her words, Lan returned to her original appearance. Silver-haired and red-eyed, he looks handsome, and looks like he is only about 16 years old. So handsome. Lila directly launched the nympho. Ahem, he's really handsome. Arashi also blushed slightly. Kaguya's small hands covered her chest, as if to prevent her from jumping so fast. It seems that only Liu is slightly normal. Stinky boy, don't show off your charm, my family is about to be stunned by you. Astria knocked on Lan and said like a big sister. After a few women heard this, they all felt a little embarrassed. Don't talk about this, I hope you can help me keep my affairs a secret, I will go back to my family first. Lan instructed him. Don't worry, we have something to do next. Astria clenched her fists. This time, the Dark family is too much. She wants to unite with the Loki family, the Freya family, and the Ganesha family to destroy them completely. After Enlan went back, he could finally build a family station with peace of mind. Now that the nightmare incident on the 27th floor is over, the Astria family is safe. Liu won't go down a road of no return like the original. The plot has been changed. In the days that followed, Orario started another war after the worst incident 2 years ago. With the permission of the guild, the 4 major families launched a crusade against the then Eidos family at the same time. Although the battle was overwhelmingly one-sided, the Dark Familia also fought hard. In the end, the entire family station was beaten to ruins, and the main god then Eidos was also sent back to the heaven. The rest of the Dark Familiar all fled into the dungeon and hid in the man-made labyrinth. As for the ruined then Eidos family residence, it was the place where Hestia and the male protagonist Bel lived 5 years later. After this incident, Orario seemed to be much cleaner. Although there are still some fish that slip through the net in the dark corners, the overall development is going in a good direction. After 3 months of construction, the residence of the Enlan family was finally completed. A modern super villa with a lot of black technology at the same time. The style of this villa is like the villa of the male protagonist Luo Feng in the anime Devouring the Starry Sky in Minjiao Community, Jiangnan Bay City. There are 5 floors above ground and 2 floors underground, for a total of 7 floors. The whole villa hardly uses cement and bricks, and it is all panoramic glass, which not only has good lighting, but also has good thermal insulation and cooling effect of these black technology glass. The seemingly transparent glass is actually like a touch screen. It can not only be used as a display, but also display the weather, temperature, and time every day. When sleeping at night, the glass will automatically block light, so that the outside cannot see the inside, but the inside can see the outside. A large number of virtual projection instruments are also installed inside the villa, as if living in the future era. There is also a small lake and swimming pool outside, some lotus flowers are planted in the lake, and some fish are raised. Next to the swimming pool is an open-air barbecue, where family members can have parties and parties. Of course, in the past 3 months, in addition to building the family station, Enlan also repaired the souls of Arteria and the others, regenerated them into completed souls, and also helped them create bodies. After possessing the body, Arteria, Emi Yashiro, and Anna also joined an Ian's family. As a result, there are 7 members of the Enlan family. Yeshiu, Sumuchan, Yunying, and Dushima Saiko have all risen to level 2 in the past 3 months. Among them, Yeshiu and Dushima Saiko both had S-rank stats, while Sumuchan was slightly worse, but both had A-rank stats. Then Yunying was a bit exaggerated, and all the stats were SS. After all, she originally had the strength of LV4 level, and her talent was also good, so her ability value broke through the limit. But there is more exaggeration, that is, the 3 of Arteria. As servants, they had the strength of level 5 before they became family members, so after being given favors, they fought in various dungeons to leapfrog. It only took more than a month to raise all the ability values to the SSS level. Immediately after that, he went to crusade the main floor Goliath at LV1 level, and achieved great achievements, and rose to LV2 level together. Since then, all 7 of an Ian's family members have reached level 2. This made him happy, as if he saw the birth of the strongest family in the future. After the completion of the family residence, Enlan held another housewarming banquet and specially invited the Astria family as well. When Astria and the others came to this villa full of black technology, they were immediately envious and asked Enlan to help her get one too. Enlan has been working on construction for 3 months, and he is exhausted. How can he do another one? So he promised, but when he did it, he would not make a guarantee. The members of the 2 major families were all there, and they got to know each other for a while, and then they played completely. During the party, Astria also discovered the talents of the 7 members of an Ian's clan, which made her envious. Like Yunying, Anna, Sumuchan, Dushimasiko, and Artoria, these women are all so shining and moving. Astria grabbed Lan and asked in a low voice, "Tell me honestly, where did you get these geniuses?" Ulari's genius family was basically divided up, and even if a new genius appeared, it was impossible to hide from Freya's eyes that could see through the soul. But Lan has so much talent here, something is clearly wrong. You forgot that I am from another world, I can travel through the world, and naturally I can go to other worlds to find a genius family. Lan rolled her eyes and said, "FK, it's so unfair, I also want a genius family, why don't you give me a few?" Astria pleaded. While talking, he peeked at Yunying and Arturia, obviously looking at the two girls. Chapter 39 / Crimson Eye. I treat you as a friend, but you dig my corner. And Ian's eyes widened, showing an expression that he only saw you today. Stop talking nonsense, do you agree? Astria grabbed Ian's neck, as if he would strangle him to death today if he didn't agree. Okay, I promise you, the family can't be transferred to you, but I can take you to other worlds, you can find the family yourself. Lan hurriedly promised her. The two people's fights are like sisters and brothers, they are all joking. After what happened last time, Astria regarded Lan as her own younger brother. Are you going to take me to another world? Astria's eyes lit up when she heard it. The god of this world is called the god of Leze, because it is enough to live in the heavens for hundreds of millions of years, so that he can seal the lower realm of divine power and experience the life of mortals. As the goddess of justice, Astria is full of sense of justice, but since she is in the lower world, she must also come to have fun. Now that she can go to an unknown world, she is very excited when she thinks about it, and her eyes are full of anticipation. When Lan saw this scene, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. I have watched too many animes in my previous life, and more of them are full of regrets and tragedies. Lan wants to prevent those tragedies from happening, but his family doesn't want so many people. For example, go to Cut. The world of Crimson Eyes recruits Ests as a family, but besides Ests, there are many other high-quality girls in that world. Leona, Najida, Chelsea, Hill, Chi-Tong, Haitong, etc., these girls are geniuses, aren't they very suitable for the Astria family? In addition to these girls, Brand, Lubbock, Will, and Lan are all rare talents. A family of my own would definitely not be able to eat so many people, so it would be better to have another Astria family to share the burden. It can not only solve the regrets of the original plot, but also allow those characters to have a new way of life. Yes, if you don't want to, forget it, Lan teased. Of course, you don't want to leave me. Astria grabbed Lan. Don't worry, you won't be left behind, go back and let your clan prepare. In a week, our two clans will explore a new world together. Lan said to her with a smile. Great. Astria hugged Ian's face happily and kissed her. At this time, Lila found out what the two were doing and said, Lord Astria is too much, hiding here and eating alone, I will kiss too. After he finished speaking, he jumped on Ian's body and gave him a fierce kiss on the face. Damn, Lord Ian's first kiss is guarded by me. Yunying immediately joined in after discovering this scene. A week later, the two families gathered. The Alysas already knew that Lan was a god from other worlds, but this time Lan was going to take them to other worlds to find a talented family, and they were all excited. No one can resist the temptation of crossing, even their main god Astria. Lan felt that it was a bit laborious to travel with so many people at one time, so he simply put them all into the imaginary space, and then started the travel by himself. This is an ancient empire with a 1,000-year-old civilization. It is the most powerful country in the world. The alien races around it have no confidence to resist. The only one that can compete with it is the Western Kingdom, while the southern desert and the northern frozen soil are relatively far behind, and the eastern islands are an uncivilized land. As time goes by, just like people die, the country will gradually decay and go to the day of destruction. Today, the empire that has prospered for thousands of years is just a corrupt hell on earth, with ghosts in human skins, arrogant and domineering everywhere. Outside the imperial city, Enlan came to this world and released everyone from the imaginary space. Is this a different world? I feel like I don't need to seal the divine power anymore. After Astrea came out, she immediately discovered that this world was different from the wrong world. As a god, she sees more than mortals, such as the origin of the world. Now that she has come to a different world, she no longer needs to abide by the rules of the wrong world, she can use her divine power with confidence and boldness, and she is not afraid of being forcibly sent back to the heavenly world. Brother Enlan, do you want to fight with me? Astrea suddenly looked at Enlan with a provocative look in her eyes. Enlan moves, and since unlocking all the skills of the Mo King skill tree and then merging with them, he has never used his full power again. He has no idea how strong he is now. As the god of the wrong world, Astrea is not too weak. However, just when the two wanted to give it a try, Alice suddenly said, "There are monsters." Everyone looked in the direction Alice said, and saw a huge earth dragon rushing towards them. This is the earth dragon, which is also called the dangerous species in this world. Enlan explained to the crowd. "Leave it to me." Yunying took the lead and said. Tu Long quickly rushed to the front of the crowd, but Yunying threw out a shot and hit Tu Long directly on the head. This earth dragon, which looked huge, was smashed and fell to the ground, dizzy and unable to get up. With a dragon in the name, I thought it was strong, but that's it? Yeshiu shook his head in disappointment. As a Huxia, I always pay special attention to the dragon character. It seems that the dangerous species in this world are not so good. Lila kicked the Tulong's stomach with her foot, as if thinking about whether this guy's meat is delicious. Don't underestimate the dangerous species in this world. The dangerous species in this world are divided into 5 levels. Above level 5, there are super dangerous species and super dangerous species. The strength is enough to match the adventurers of LV6 and LV7. Enlan explained to them again. So powerful. It seems that I can complete the great achievements required for the upgrade in this world. Lila said excitedly. Her ability value has reached the full A level, and she can rise to LV4 level with just one adventure. Don't worry about the upgrade, we are here to recruit family members. Astrea said to Lila. I know. Lila replied immediately. Don't stand still, go into the city and find a place to live. Enlan said, and then turned into a super carriage, and then let the Tulong, who had just been knocked out, pull the carriage. Originally wanted to change into a motorcycle and a car, but it was too exaggerated. Do as the locals do, and the carriage is also good. Tulong was reluctant at first, but after Enlan released only 1/10,000th of the Dragon Emperor's domineering power, it surrendered instantly. Everyone got on the carriage and went in the direction of the imperial capital. Chapter 40 Evil and Justice. After entering the city, Enlan led the crowd to a hotel and opened 14 rooms at a time. This time, the 2 major families are all here. In addition to the 2 gods Enlan and Astrea, there are 12 other families. After the room was opened, everyone ordered another table of meals in the private room. Then they gathered together and discussed the world while eating. Enlan is constantly giving them basic knowledge and background about the world, including empires, courtiers, emperors, dangerous species, alien races, and more. Everyone felt as if they were listening to a story. They never thought that a country could last for 1,000 years. Only when they heard the darkness of the empire today, they all frowned. It's abominable, this kind of evil country should not exist, we're going to overthrow it. As the goddess of justice, Astrea was the first one who couldn't stand it with a sense of justice. Yes, since we are here, we must do something for the people of this country. Arashi nodded. Later, including Liu, Kaguya, Lila, and Niz, the four daughters, all agreed to overthrow the empire. As the family of the goddess of justice, they never lack justice in their hearts. I also agree with this matter. There is no need for a country with a high level of corruption to exist. Yeshiu also stood up and said, overthrow the feudalism. Sumuchin nodded repeatedly. Such a country must be conquered. Arturia said with serious eyes. The corruption of the empire reminded her of her kingdom of Camelot. She worked so hard to be perfect, but no one understood her, which led to the kingdom's demise. I agree too. Emi Yashiro also said. After all, once he was also a partner of justice. Although he was abandoned by the justice he insisted on and regretted choosing this path, he was still very kind in his heart. The rest of Pashima Saiko, Yun, and Anna did not speak. The three of them were not without their own opinions, but regarded Enlan as their own. Regarding this matter, if Enlan said to overthrow the empire, they would definitely overthrow the empire. So they were waiting for Enlan to speak before making a decision. The empire must be overthrown. Even if we don't take action, the revolutionary army in this world will overthrow the empire, but don't forget that we are here to recruit family members. There are good talents on both sides of the revolutionary army and the empire. You can choose to join any of the two sides. Power, and then approach those geniuses. Enlan expressed his thoughts. He also doesn't like the empire, but overthrowing the empire is not their priority. Someone in the empire will overthrow, and what they have to do is to save the regrets of the original book, save those geniuses who died on the road of revolution, and then recruit their families. Sure enough, after listening to Ian's words, everyone regained their composure. Then I'll join the revolutionary army. Astria obviously would not join the empire. Afterwards, Arashi, Kaguya, Liu, Lila, and Niz also indicated that they would join the revolutionary army. Enlan looked at his family. Yeshiu said, I also join the revolutionary army. The empire is too dark to join. I'm with Yeshiu. Sumuchin said. I'll join the revolutionary army too. Arturia said. Revolutionary army. Emi Yashiro also chose the side of justice. I can do both sides. Which side does Lord Enlan want to join? Anna asked Enlan. I won't join either side, it's up to you to choose. Enlan said with a smile. Then let me join the revolutionary army. Anna still chose the revolutionary army. I also choose the revolutionary army. Yunying also made a choice. Evil and justice, as long as normal people will choose justice. I choose to join the empire. The revolutionary army has you to join, and the strength is too strong. Saiko Dushima chose the evil empire. Enlan looked at her with a smile on the corner of her mouth, clearly supporting her. With a serious tendency to violence, of course, he chooses the empire, so that he can better vent his true self. Others didn't know Saiko Pashima had violent tendencies, and when they heard that she chose the empire, they all gave her a weird look. Only Kaguya seemed to have guessed something. During this time, she has been teaching Pashima Saiko. Every time Pashima Saiko kills monsters in the dungeon, she is very cruel. Originally, she thought Saiko Pashima was going all out against the enemy, but she was obviously wrong. Obviously, there is darkness inside. That being the case, take a night's rest tonight and start your own actions tomorrow. Enlan poured a glass of wine and raised it to the crowd. Everyone also raised their cups and toasted together. The night passed, and the next day everyone started their own actions. Led by Astria, all those who chose to join the revolutionary army left the imperial capital and went to the revolutionary army's lair. Saiko Toshi's Hima was alone and chose to join the imperial guards first. What Enlan didn't expect was that Anna, who originally chose to join the Revolutionary Army, did not go with Austria and the others, but stayed by her side. Anna, didn't you choose to join the Revolutionary Army? Enlan asked curiously. I don't care about justice or evil, it doesn't matter which side I join, I just want to be by the side of Lord Enlan. Anna said with a blushing face. Enlan was moved after hearing this. He couldn't help but reached out and touched Anna's little head and said, you forgot what I told you, Anna is an Ian's younger sister, don't call her an adult, just call her big brother. Brother, big brother. When Anna heard this, her face turned even redder, and her head was almost steaming. Okay, let's go. Enlan said with a smile. Where? Anna asked curiously. Night attack, the assassination team of the Revolutionary Army. Enlan said, picked up Enlan, flew into the sky, and left the imperial capital from the air. Under the perception of God, Enlan found the night raid's lair in a mountain range outside the imperial capital. When she and Anna fell from the sky, all the members of Yaraid rushed out and surrounded them. Who are you? Asked a hot lady with short curly blonde hair. My name is Enlan, and my sister Anna is by my side. We are here to defect to the night attack. Enlan stated the purpose very directly. The members of the night raid looked at each other with doubts in their eyes. Because Enlan not only knew that they were night raiders, but also found their lair. You must know that there are only the portraits of Chi Tong and Brand in the imperial capital, and the appearance of the others has not been exposed. How did he find them? How did you know we were here? A strong and handsome man asked seriously. He is currently the strongest night attack, known as Brand of 100 people. It's inconvenient to say this, anyway, I just know, do you want me to join? Enlan asked helplessly. He can never reveal that he has watched anime in his previous life and knows all the plots. Chapter 41 Everything is false, everything is allowed. Brother, if you don't tell us, we don't know if you are a spy sent by the Empire. If you want to join us, you must assassinate an imperial aristocrat or official before we can allow you to join the night raid. The blonde with short curly hair said. The Killer Squad night attack, although affiliated with the Revolutionary Army, is fundamentally different from the Revolutionary Army, and not just anyone can join. Even if you have a grudge against the Empire and you want to overthrow the Empire, but your own strength is insufficient, joining the night raid will only hold you back. What's more, the members of the night raid can only live in the dark. Even if the Empire is overthrown, these killers will bear all the sins. All things are false, all things are allowed. Hey, Leona, don't make your own decisions, be careful the boss will come back and beat you, said a man with a green color. Enlan took a look, ouch. Isn't this orphaned egg warrior Lubbock? He was born in a wealthy family, but because he admired and liked Najida, he followed her to join the Revolutionary Army. He was a little lewd, but he was actually very affectionate and righteous. Is it true? I promise you. Do you have a target to kill? Enlan agreed immediately. When the night raiders heard this, they all looked at Enlan in surprise. It seems that Enlan really wants to join them, not just talking about it. Wait, before hinting, you must prove your strength, a girl with long black hair and red eyes suddenly said. She is the protagonist of this world, Chi Tong, and her talent is the strongest existence other than Est's. Chi Tong thought very simply, if Enlan was a good person, he would assassinate the nobles or officials of the Empire in order to join the night raid, and if he was not strong enough, he would definitely be killed. In this way, isn't it equivalent to killing him in the night attack? If they are captured and tortured alive, and the location of the night raid base is exposed, they will also be surrounded and suppressed by the Empire. How to prove it? Enlan asked. Fight any one of us, and let us determine your strength. Leone said enthusiastically. It's easy, come on. Enlan grinned and took out his Gantz sword, a weapon he hadn't used for a long time. With a slight flick, the sharp black blade extended with a bass sound. Where have the members of the Night Raiders ever seen such advanced technological weapons? All of them are amazed by the weapons. And Ian's knife pointed at Chi Tong, and everyone in the night attack thought he was unlucky. It's hard to choose Chi Tong, but she won't let go of water. Although Brand is the strongest in the night attack, he belongs to the warrior type. In terms of assassination, Chi Tong's talent is above Brand. Chi Tong did not speak, walked out, and then pulled out her weapon. Taigo would kill Muroro with one slash. This is the demon sword in Taigo. If you are hurt by this sword, you will be infected with curse poison from the wound and die quickly. There is no way to detoxify it. Hey, Chi Tong, do you want to use Murasame? Leona hurriedly stopped. Forget it. Chi Tong replied with some cuteness. It's okay, I also want to see the power of Murasame. Enlan said indifferently. Little brother, don't be brave, if you get scratched by Murasame a little bit, you will die. Leonie persuaded. I think I can dodge all attacks. Enlan said confidently. This makes the Night Raiders unhappy. Chi Tong is their trump card, and they think they can avoid all her attacks. Do you think you are the general and ests? Liane, I will pay attention. Chi Tong suddenly said at this time. Obviously, she also wanted to see if Enlan could actually dodge all her attacks. In the end, Liale and the others had to agree, and they gave up a venue for the competition. Leonie came to Anna and asked, Aren't you worried about your big brother? Anna glanced at her and said, She is not a big brother's opponent. Obviously, that she was referring to Chi Tong. This made the members of Yarade unhappy again. This brother and sister were too crazy. Chi Tong is their trump card, they have never lost. The competition was just beginning, and Chi Tong held the demon sword Murasame and quickly attacked Enlan. She's fast and dexterous, making her a natural killer. It's a pity that she has to face a creator god who has a mobile skill library. With a simple wave, Enlan blocked Chi Tong's blow. This scene stunned everyone, because they all saw that Enlan didn't use all his strength. Chi Tong's eyes narrowed and he changed his moves. The demon sword in his hand again stabbed Enlan at a tricky angle. Unfortunately, it was blocked again. The speed of the two is getting faster and faster, and almost only after images can be seen. Only Brand was present and could see clearly. Every time Chi Tong swung his sword, Enlan was relieved. What a terrifying strength! Leonie was shocked. She finally knew why the brother and sister were so calm. Chi Tong's strength is very strong, and in terms of attack power alone, she can match a level 4 adventurer. But the defense is too low, and taking a simple hit will hurt. Adventurers in the wrong world are all improved in all directions, and they can only level up if their stats are above D level. This also caused the adventurers in the wrong world not only to have strong attack power, but also to have good speed, defense, endurance, dexterity, and magic power. Everyone is a hexagonal warrior. Not to mention LV4, even LV3 adventurers are physically stronger than Shishi. It is not uncommon to see pictures of flying out and crashing down a building every time you fight. But Chi Tong can't do it. Except for Brand, who has the armored Taigo, and Leona, who is the beast-shaped Taigo, the defenses of the others are also pitifully weak. After frantically fencing for a while, Chi Tong finally stopped. I can't hit you. Chi Tong said frankly. Everyone in this night attack recognized an Ian's strength, and if someone with such strength joined them, it would be an extra boost to overthrow the empire. The strength is recognized, but they still need a registration certificate. So Liane took out a portrait of a person and said to Enlan, this is an official in the imperial capital. He usually does some things to oppress the poor. Your task is to get rid of him. Simple. Enlan took the portrait and asked Anna to wait for him to return at the night raid headquarters, and then left. At night, the wealthy area of the imperial capital is very bustling and lively. In the home of a noble official, several soldiers tied a young girl to the master's room. Under the terrified eyes of the girl, the maid in the house groomed her. "Little beauty, I'm here," the greasy fat man said excitedly, rubbing his hands. It didn't take long before she saw a greasy middle-aged man with a big belly walk into the room. The girl was terrified, her eyes filled with tears. Suddenly, the lights in the room went out. In the darkness, a shadow of a Tauren more than 3 meters high appeared, with a blue flame-like aura in his eyes. "What?" the greasy middle-aged man screamed and fell into a pool of blood. When the guards in the mansion rushed in, they only saw a headless corpse, and the girl disappeared. Chapter 42, Candidate for Head, Najida. In the woods outside the imperial capital, the Shadow Minotaur brought a young girl to an Aeon's side. It threw the head of the official and the girl on the ground and disappeared. The girl was originally scared to be kidnapped by the Tauren, but after seeing Enlan, she suddenly felt a lot more at ease. "Did you save me?" the girl asked with a red face. Looking at the handsome Enlan, she felt like she was in a fairy tale. He was spotted by the nobleman and kidnapped, and then the destined Prince Charming appeared to save himself as a hero. Then, in order to repay her kindness, she married him, and she lived a life without shame and shame. Thinking of this, she felt ashamed. So embarrassing. Enlan glanced at the girl. She looked pretty good, but unfortunately not as good looking as the women around him. Whether it's Liu, Alice, Arturia, Anna, Yuning, any one of them can beat her in terms of looks. The most important thing is that there is no talent to be an adventurer. Lack of interest. Leave the imperial capital and spend the rest of your life in an ordinary village. After Enlan finished speaking, he ignored her and left. The girl froze in place, a little overwhelmed. A wry smile appeared on the corner of her mouth, and she woke up at this moment. Enlan came to Night Raid's headquarters. This time she saw all the members, including Night Raid's boss Najida. "I have to say that Nadetta has a really good figure, good looks, and his favorite white hair. It's a pity that she lost an arm and an eye by Ests. When I watched anime before, Lubbock's memories appeared as Najida when she was young. At that time, she was still the general of the empire, with long hair flowing. It was simply picturesque. This time to cut the red world, Ests is the first target, and Najida is the second target. The reason is naturally that Enlan has taken a fancy to her leadership ability, and her family has not yet had a leader, and Yeshiu is only qualified. In addition to the head of the regiment, 2 deputy heads of the regiment are required. Nadetta is obviously the best candidate, but I don't know if she wants it or not." In addition to Najida, he also saw pink-haired twin-tailed Lolita Mane. Intimate big sister, natural dumb glasses girl Hill. Seeing Anhui's return, Leona I couldn't help but ask, "Why are you back?" "Mission accomplished," Enlan said and took out a package full of blood and threw it on the ground. When I opened it, I saw a human head inside. The face of the human head was the target of his assassination. The Night Raiders were amazed because Enlan completed the task too quickly. Leave during the day, and come back at night. Every time they assassinate a target, they will investigate all the information of the target in advance, as well as the laws of life and habits, in order to formulate an assassination plan. As a result, it will take a lot of time. Enlan, I've already heard them talk about today's events. Yeraid welcomes you. Najida, as the boss, took the lead and said, "Haha, welcome to drink," Leone said carelessly. Others are also very happy. After all, as killers, they are always in danger of dying. Along the way, there are fewer and fewer companions around. Now there are 2 more companions, and at the same time, I am a little worried about the future life and death. Enlan smiled and then said to Nadetta, "Boss, is it convenient to speak alone?" "Well, yes." Nadetta nodded. Immediately, the two came to a separate room. If you have something, just say it here. Najida said, looking at Lan. The boss's eyes and arms were injured by Est's, right? Lan asked, looking at her robotic right arm. How do you know? Nadetta shuddered when she heard the name Est's. This name is like a nightmare engraved in the depths of her soul. Don't care how I know, I have the ability to restore your arms and eyes, would you like to try it? Lan asked seductively. Nadetta was shocked when she heard this, and her heart suddenly became a little surging. But soon, she regained her composure, looked at Lan and asked, as far as I know, none of the 48 pieces of Taigo can restore the existence of my arms and eyes. If you have this ability, you will definitely have it for me. Requested. Yes, I will not only help you heal your arms and eyes, but even help you to overthrow the empire at night. I only have one request, you come with me and become my family. Lan went straight to the theme. You have the ability to overthrow the empire? Do you know the strength of the generals of the empire and Ests? Also, what do you mean by family? Najida seemed to hear a funny joke, a set of three even asked. Lan didn't bother to explain, he just waved his hand and took Najida to space transfer together. The two disappeared from the room of the night raid headquarters and reappeared, already on a mountain top thousands of miles away. Najida was shocked, and she asked Lan, what is this place? Do you own the Tegu-dimensional square Shangri-La? I don't have a Taigu, I just let you see if I have the strength to overthrow the empire. Lan raised his hand as he spoke. Dragon Vein Destruction Cannon. The golden divine power turned into a giant dragon and flew to the distant mountains. Boom! With a loud bang, the light of a nuclear explosion illuminated the world. When the explosion ended, the mountains had completely disappeared, leaving only a huge basin, and the land in the basin was also burned into magma by the high temperature. The heat wave came one after another, making the cold night become extremely hot. This is only 1/10,000 of an eon's strength. If he does his best, the destructive power of Destroyer Star is enough to destroy the world. If you use Dragon Seed Nucleation, you can destroy a galaxy with one knife. Use the energy of Void Collapse, then this universe can play GG. Therefore, the mere empire is an ant in his eyes. Nadetta was stunned when she saw this scene. Such a powerful destructive power, even the great general and Ests, who are known as the two powers of the empire, cannot do it. At this moment, she seemed to see the hope of overthrowing the empire. Lan, as long as you can overthrow the empire, I will agree to any request, including joining the family as you said. Najida said excitedly. Although she doesn't know what a family is, in order to overthrow the empire, she can agree to all conditions. Very good, then let me help you restore your arms and eyes first. Lan showed a satisfied smile. The eighth family has arrived, and he is also a leader candidate with leadership qualities. Yeshiu, you are under a lot of pressure. Here for treatment? Nadetta asked uncertainly. Because there is nothing here, not even the tools needed for surgery. Chapter 43 The Undying King. The Eighth Family. Yes, it will be over soon. Lan said with a smile. Immediately, he took out the highest level of recovery potion in the wrong world and let Najida drink it. Nadetta did so and drank it all in one gulp. The next second, she felt that her broken arm and the wound of her blind eye had become extremely oxygenated, as if new muscle tissue and bones were growing. Lan felt that it wasn't enough and cast her recovery magic. Then use the ultimate ability Undead King to continuously extract the vitality of the surrounding animals and plants, and then transfer it into Nadetta's body. Under the triple repair, Nadetta's arms and eyes grew back. Not only that, not even a single scar was left. Moreover, under the nourishment of a lot of vitality, there is also the double recovery of medicine and magic, and the dark disease in the body has also recovered. Now her body seems to have returned to when she was a general in the empire, and she is extremely healthy. Najida opened her eyes, revealing beautiful purple pupils, and said in surprise, "Recovered, really recovered. There's no woman who doesn't love beauty, and she doesn't like installing robotic arms and wearing blindfolds." When Ests destroyed her arms and eyes, she was desperate more than once. But now it's finally fine, everything is fine. "Thank you, Enlan," Nadetta said sincerely. "You're welcome, you are a member of the family that I consider to be a member of the family. It's a matter of course for you to treat your disability and old wounds." Enlan shook his hand and said it didn't matter. "I want to ask, what is the family you are talking about?" Najida heard the word family again and couldn't help asking. "Simply tell you, family members can be understood as believers who develop in the human world. They will be blessed by God to develop their potential and become extremely powerful." Enlan explained briefly. Najida is smart and she deduces a lot from an Ian's words. Only gods can develop families, so isn't Enlan? Are you a god? Nadetan not only breathed a little faster, but even her title became respectful. "Yes, for sure. Only a god has such terrifying destructive power, something that even a super dangerous species cannot do." "That's right, I'm a god from another world, because the original world didn't have many talents to develop a family, so I went to other worlds to develop a family. It's good for you to attack at night, and you have the potential to become a family." Enlan explained to her again. "Then you plan to take them all?" Nadetta was extremely excited. If all the members of the Night Raid join the family of the gods and become stronger, what is the mere empire? The most important thing is that in the future, there will be no more sacrifice of companions when performing tasks. Night Raid members are good, but I can't get all of the family, I only accept what I like. Enlan shook his head, disappointing Najida a little. "I feel that my talent is far inferior to Chi Tong and the others, why would you like me?" Najida was a little puzzled. "You are too humble. You are the youngest general in the empire with Ests. You know your talent the most, not to mention that you are a good leader. My family currently lacks a head and 2 deputy captain, so I like your leadership ability." Enlan told Najida the reason very bluntly, because he liked her leadership ability. "I see, I understand." Nadetan nodded. "I'll grant you favors first," Enlan said suddenly. Nadetta was stunned for a moment, not knowing what to do. "Just show your back," Enlan told her. Nadetta's face turned red. It was the first time she was seen by a man in the back of her senior year. Although shy, she did it anyway. With his back to Enlan, he lifted his clothes. Immediately, a smooth back, as white as jade, was exposed in front of an Ian's eyes. Enlan cut her fingers and dripped a drop of divine blood on her back, and the tattoo of the family emblem also emerged. "Welcome to be the 8th member of the Enlan family," Enlan said with a smile. Nadetta put down her clothes, clearly feeling that she was different from just now, but she couldn't say exactly what the difference was. Enlan looked at her and simply told her the information about the upgrade of Inhui. "That is to say, as long as you keep training and fighting, you can upgrade and become stronger." Nadetta's face showed excitement. Because of the existence of grace, she saw hope beyond Ests. "That's right." Enlan nodded. Najida's talent, he is still very optimistic. After teleporting back to the Night Raid headquarters again, Najida and Enlan came out of the room. It's just that when the members of Night Raid saw Najida, they were all stunned. "Boss, your hands and eyes recovered." Leone covered his mouth with his hands, looking in disbelief. "God, how is this possible?" the lowly girl Main exclaimed. "Boss has become so beautiful." Hill exclaimed. Lubbock couldn't help swallowing. He only joined the Revolutionary Army after following Najida, because he always liked Najida. Even if Nadetta loses her arms, loses her eyes, then loses her long hair, smokes every day, and becomes more and more manly, he still likes Nadetta. Unexpectedly, today, I saw Nadetta restore her beauty again. What the hell is going on? Brand asked seriously. Thanks to Enlan. He used a healing potion to help me recover from my disability and old wounds. Najida said to everyone with a smile. She and Enlan had negotiated not to reveal his identity until the empire was overthrown. Enlan, amazing. Chi Tong gave him a thumbs up. It's more than amazing, and Ian's brother is the lucky star of our night attack. Liane hugged an Ian's head and brought a shower of facial cleanser. When Anna on the side saw this scene, the blue veins on her forehead were about to pop out, and she almost picked up the sickle and slashed Liane alive. All beamed cheerfully, celebrating Nadetta's recovery. After this incident, Enlan can be considered to be completely integrated into the Night Raid and become one of them. After joining Night Raid, Enlan was also assigned a room. After taking a bath, it was already midnight. He was about to go to bed when he heard the sound of fighting outside. Everyone was awakened, thinking they had been attacked. After Enlan followed the crowd out, only then did he see the beastized Leona fighting a girl with a gun. Enlan saw the girl's appearance clearly and found that it was Yunying. Stop hitting, my own, he hurriedly stopped. Both sides stopped and looked at him. Yunying saw Enlan, put away her weapon, and swooped in with a smile on her face. Enlan caught it and asked, "Didn't you go to join the Revolutionary Army, why did you come here?" Yunying explained with a smile, "It's so boring over there. I saw that Anna didn't come, and I guessed that she wanted to be with you alone, so I came." Everyone in the night attack widened their eyes, but they didn't expect that this girl who was not under Leona would also know Enlan. Chapter 44 God-Made Weapons. The Sword of the Emperor Yan. Immortal Blade. Najida's eyes lit up, and she guessed that the girl in front of her must be one of an Ian's clans. Liane said angrily, "I thought someone was invading, but I didn't expect it to be your acquaintance Enlan, I'm sorry." The beastized Leona's short golden curly hair turned into long curly hair, and animal ears grew, and both hands became animal claws. "Your strength is good, we will fight again in the future." Yunying jumped out of an Ian's arms and said excitedly. "Okay, I'll accompany you anytime." Leone replied. Next, Najida arranged another room for Yunying, and everyone rested. However, the members of Night Raid are doomed to not be able to sleep because so much has happened today. Not only did two masters join the team, but Najida also recovered from her disability and old injuries. The overall strength of the night attack has been directly raised by a grade. However, they didn't know that Anna's strength was actually stronger than Yunying's, but she never made a move, so everyone just regarded her as an Ian's younger sister and had no fighting power. After the night passed, Leone was going to the imperial capital to pick up a mission today. Enlan has nothing to do, and plans to forge the weapons promised to Arashi, Kagaya, Lila and the others while he has time. He came to the back mountain of the Night Raid headquarters. There is a waterfall lake here, but it is a beautiful place. Anna and Yunying, two little followers, naturally followed along, and they were called watching casting weapons. Enlan came to the lake and took out various materials. Some of these materials are dropped by dungeon monsters, and some are created by him. The most important thing is mithril and oliha steel, which is the key to forging powerful weapons. The black dagger that he Faith Toss helped Bell forge was made of mithril. Melt mithril with black flame and add some oliha to make it a super strong alloy. Then add the fire attribute material, and slowly shape the weapon. Finally, describe the magic energy gathering method of the fire attribute, and inlay the fire attribute spar. Finally, a top weapon with fire attributes was successfully forged. The Sword of the Emperor Yan. The overall appearance is crimson, including the sword body, which is also red. Because of the pirated version of other people's appearance, the name of the sword of Emperor Yan can be regarded as a tribute. Arashi's weapon was finished, and Kagaya's weapon was next. The forging process is the same, except that the fire attribute is changed to the wind attribute, which makes the weapon easier and sharper, which is very suitable for IHE/. The shape of the weapon still chooses the weapon of the fairy tale Urza, the demon sword Red Sakura. The name has not changed, and it is also called Hongying. Finally, there's Lila's weapon, which is a bit of a hassle. Lila's weapon is called the flesh-eating flying sword, which is somewhat similar to the Meridian Mandarin duck tomahawk in ancient Daxia, with small radial flying swords on it, which are used for throwing attacks. There are no samples of this weapon to visit either, and Lan can only build a similar model. It seems to be similar to the original, but in fact, the level has been improved by more than one step. Whether it is forging materials or craftsmanship, they are all top-notch. After the 3 weapons were forged, Lan tried each of them, and then put them in the system backpack, and gave them to them when they met next time. Anna and Yunying looked greedy, but they all had their own matching weapons. Seeing the eyes of the 2 women, Lan suddenly smiled and said, "Show me your weapons as well, and I'll help you upgrade them." The 2 girls were overjoyed and hurriedly took out the slaughtering gun and the blade of the undead. A fire attribute spear and a death attribute sickle. The weapons forged in front of Lan, just like he Faith Tas in the wrong world, did not use divine skills and divine power. Therefore, although the forged weapons are all top level, they are not artifacts. A real god-made weapon is much more powerful. After analyzing the Sword of Oath of Victory, Lan already has the technology to create weapons. This time, let's try these 2 weapons. First, it is tempered with divine power to make the weapon more pure, and then it is integrated with divine power to give birth to divinity. Then it is based on the attributes of the weapon to strengthen this ability. The skimmer is a fire attribute, and Lan allows it to burst into a higher temperature and more powerful divine flame. The slaughtering immortal blade, the divine sword of Greek mythology, although it is not excellent in itself, after being injured by the slaughtering immortal blade, the wound is absolutely irreversible. This sword has the power to nullify the undead property, and the hero Perseus cut off the sleeping Medusa's head with the blade of slaughtering undead. So this sword has also become a special weapon for Medusa. I don't know why, but Anna's weapon was really the slaughtering undead blade that killed herself, and the sword also turned into a scythe. In any case, the attribute of the scythe is to invalidate the undead attribute, and the wound cannot be healed. Lan makes its attribute stronger, not only the wound cannot be healed, but even eroded by the death attribute. After some forging, the levels of the 2 weapons have all reached the level of the Sword of Oath of Victory. Of course, they don't fire light cannons. The 2 girls were very happy when they got the enhanced weapon. Back at the night raid base, Leona, who went out to pick up the mission, has returned. The task she borrowed this time was to assassinate a rich and noble family. They often deceived foreigners who had just arrived in the imperial capital, and then imprisoned them, conducted various human experiments, and finally tortured them to death. When Lan heard it, wasn't this the noble family who deceived the male protagonist Tajmi at the beginning of the plot? Thinking of this, Lan suddenly asked Leonie, "Did you cheat a stranger in the city today?" Leonie suddenly widened his eyes and looked at Lan with a look of disbelief. Really? Seeing her expression, Lan had already guessed it. "Leonie, did you do something?" Najida also noticed Leonie's expression and asked seriously. Ha, ha, I just saw a hot-blooded young man who just came to the imperial capital, so I gave him a lesson. Leonie scratched his head and smirked, trying to fool him. The purpose of our night raid is to punish evil and promote good. If you do this, what is the difference between us and those dignitaries? Najida sighed, her eyes full of disappointment. Boss, don't be angry, I'll give it back to that boy. Leonie said hurriedly. Don't worry, you will meet that boy again when you perform the mission tonight. And Lan patted her on the shoulder and said mysteriously. Can you know that too? Leonie asked in disbelief. Think about it, our target of this assassination likes to deceive foreigners. That young man was defrauded of all his money by you, and he has no place to live. Will he be discovered by kind nobles and brought home? And Lan asked. Leonil asked. It can't be so coincidental. Leonie was a little scared. If things really turned out like that, wouldn't he have harmed that young man? Chapter 45 Hell is empty, the devil is in the world. At night, all members of the night raid were dispatched, including Lan and others who had just joined. Everyone was a skilled expert, so they easily invaded the imperial defense and came to the noble's villa. There is a yard outside the huge house, and there are several guard soldiers in the yard. Rookie, do you want to try it? Lubbock asked Yunying. After what happened last night, he knew the strength of the girl in front of him. Yunying ignored him, turning her head to Anna and said, BB who has solved it more. Okay. Anna nodded. Immediately, the two rushed into the villa and started killing. Anna wielded a sickle like a god of death, as long as it touched it, it would be cut in two. The night raiders were once again terrified. And Ian's younger sister, Anna, was actually stronger than Yunying. Fortunately, they also took care of Anna as a little sister, and this little sister turned out to be more powerful than them. I'm going to help too. Chi Tong pulled out the demon sword and joined the battle. Kill one by one. The three girls were like little supermen, and quickly killed all the guards. At this time, only the noble family and the male lead Tajmi were left in the entire house. When the family saw the members of the night raid, they all trembled with fear and pretended to be innocent. At this time, a little brown hare stood up and guarded the noble family. He is the male protagonist Tajmi, and he is one of the few Japanese anime male protagonists that Lan does not hate. Tajmi regarded Yaraid as a heinous devil. After all, the noble family took him in. Little brother, you are really here. Leonie said happily when he saw Tajmi. Damn, it's you again, your night raids are all bastards. Tajmi said preconceivedly. Young man, before you said this, did you know what the family you were protecting had done? Leonie asked grimly with a gloomy expression on his face. Tajmi was stunned for a moment, a little unclear. But the face of the noble family he protected changed drastically. Tajmi, don't believe her, the noble family's daughter pretended to be pitiful. And Lan shook his head helplessly and said, what nonsense, talk to him, just let him see the evidence. After he finished speaking, he used silk threads to bind Tajmi and the noble family. Seeing this scene, Lubbock exclaimed directly, how can you use the ever-changing cross-tail? I'm not Taigo. And Lan explained casually. Immediately, he took Tajmi to a closed room and kicked the door open. There are many torture instruments in the secret room, and many people are still detained, but these people are basically not far away from death, and some corpses are hung in the air. At this moment, Tajmi saw two familiar figures. It is his companions, Iyaz and Seo. Seo has been tortured into a human form, and the body is still hanging there naked. Iyaz was locked in a small iron cage like a dog, with plates all over his body, obviously infected with an unknown virus. This scene made Tajmi stunned, and it hit his brain fiercely. Seeing his appearance, Lan untied the bondage and said, look carefully, this is the darkness of the imperial capital. Tajmi. Are you? Tajmi. At this time, the detained Iyaz also saw Tajmi, with an excited look on his face. But before he said a word, he started coughing wildly, coughing up black blood continuously. Yes. Tajmi cut off the iron cage and released him. Tajmi, it was this family who took the initiative to talk to me and Sheo. We lost consciousness after eating, and we were locked here as soon as we woke up. It was that woman who tortured Sheo to death. As he spoke, he cried. Things could no longer be busy, and the noble lady said angrily, "What did I do wrong? You are a group of countrymen from other places who are useless at all, just like domestic animals. How to treat you is my freedom. Besides, that woman is obviously just a beast, but her hair is so soft and shiny, it's really arrogant, but I'm so annoyed by the curly hair, so I tortured her meticulously and thoughtfully. She should be fine if she is so favored by me, thank me." The sharp sound made Lan feel like a swarm of flies buzzing in his ears. Sadistic family in the cloak of good people. Leona frowned and said in disgust. It was also the first time for Anna and Yunying to see such a disgusting person, and they were all moved to kill. Chi Tong even pulled out the demon sword Murasame directly, and said with murderous intent in his eyes, "Burning." "Wait a minute." Tajmi suddenly stopped. "Do you still want to cover up their family?" Leone asked. "No, let me behead." Tajmi came to their family, pulled out his sword, and cut it down. A clean and sharp sword, very talented. When Lan saw it, he couldn't help but think of becoming a family. Tajmi's late growth was very fast. In the comics, in order to deal with Ezds, he joined forces with Chi Tong. One merged with Taigo and turned into a dragon species. One uses Muramame to cut himself, and uses secret skills to strengthen himself. But even so, the two couldn't beat Ezds. In the end, it was under the siege of a group of people that Estes completely fell. That's right, the endings of manga and anime are different, because the anime ends first, so the finale is self-made. But in the real manga finale, it's not that Chi Tong single-handedly kills Ezds. Even if Akatsuki used the magic sword Muramame's secret skills, she was no match for Ezds. This is exactly what is so scary about Ezds, and Ian's first target in this world is her. The second target is Nijita, and the third target is Akatsuki and Tajmi. As expected of Tajmi, I'm in a much better mood now. Ia smiled when he saw the family being killed. Even though his body was in great pain at the moment, and blood was oozing from his nose and mouth, he still felt very refreshed. Tajmi took him and Seo's bodies out and put them on the ground. After Iaz told Tajmi his last words, he eventually died. "Master Lan, can you save him with your strength?" Yunying suddenly asked in a low voice. "Okay." Lan nodded. "It's just a virus, and it can be easily solved. Physical injuries can be resolved with a single recovery magic." But he didn't choose to save him, because the death of Iaz and Shea would bring about qualitative change and growth for Tajmi. The people in the night raid also helped Tajmi to bury the two, and then Leone took Tajmi hostage and forcibly brought him back to the night raid. She has also seen the talent of this young man. Now he has killed the nobles in the imperial capital. This is the fresh blood that the night attack needs. Chapter 47 Super Dangerous Species. Back at the base, Leona and the others who went out to perform the mission also returned. Tajmi completed the task beautifully this time, beheading Oka alone. It was only when he withdrew that he met a strong woman and fought with her before he escaped. Through Tajmi's description of the woman, Lan discovers that it is Saiko Pashima. It seems that she successfully joined the garrison. And Ian's mouth twitched slightly. After everyone checked Tajmi's body and determined that there was no major injury, they were relieved. The mortality rate of newcomers who perform the mission for the first time is very high. Tajmi crosses this level, and the subsequent growth will be faster. In the days that followed, Brand continued to train Tajmi every day. Lan takes Nijita every day, searching for dangerous species all over the world to fight. Because Nijita is very strong, and she fights dangerous species every day, her favor increases very quickly. A month later, her ability points have all reached S rank. Next, it only takes one adventure to complete the feats that the gods are amazed at, and then you can be promoted to LV2. On this day, Lan brought Nijita, Anna, and Yunying 3 daughters to the extreme north. This is the territory of aliens, the world of ice and snow. Enlan found a super dangerous species through divine perception. Since the establishment of the empire, the super dangerous species have been hunted with the power of the whole country, and their materials have been used to forge the taigu. There are very few super dangerous species in this world. The highest level dangerous species that people see are only super dangerous species. But this time, Enlan sensed a super dangerous species under the ice in the extreme northern seas. After teleporting to the destination, Enlan asked the three girls to stand further away. Then I saw him lift his foot and stomp. Boom! With a super loud noise, the ice layer up to 100 meters thick burst directly. With Enlan as the center, a strong shock wave spread, and the entire ice and snow island began to collapse. Well! A roar came from under the ice layer, and then everyone saw a white bear more than 10 meters tall. You three, today's task is to solve it. Enlan ordered to the three women. This super dangerous species is very powerful, and Nadetta alone cannot defeat it. So Enlan asked Anna and Yunying to assist and team up to fight. In the dungeon, it is also a great achievement to form a team to defeat the floor master. It's very strong, but this is the challenge. Yunying smiled excitedly and took out the swept gun. Anna didn't speak, but also took out the sickle. Only Nadetta slightly covered her forehead. It's too messy, three people just want to deal with the super dangerous species? No way, only bite the bullet. At this time, the white bear had already spotted Enlan and rushed towards him with a roar. Enlan appeared in the sky in a flash, and white bear lost his target, so he changed his target to the three girls. Yunying and Anna took the lead in attacking, one left and one right, cooperating with each other. The two artifacts, the slaughtering gun and the blade of the undead, instantly left bloodstains on the white bear. The blood of the super dangerous species contains a lot of energy, splashing on the ice layer, directly melting the ice into water, and boiling the water. If this is splashed on people, wouldn't it be more terrifying than concentrated sulfuric acid? It was also the first time for Najida to see the true strength of Yunying and Anna, but she did not expect to be so powerful. But she quickly reacted, and while Anna and Yunying attacked and absorbed the hatred of the white bear, she also attacked the weakness of the white bear. The white bear was angry and spit out a cold wind that blew the three away. Then the cold wind became colder and colder, as if to freeze them. Liao Yuan 100 slashes. Yunying shouted loudly, and a golden divine flame erupted from the skimming gun, turning into a fire dragon, blocking the cold wind. Anna took this opportunity to summon Weavue chains to restrain the white bear's limbs. Najida jumped to the top of the white bear, and the travel sword was inserted into the head of the white bear. The white bear struggled in pain, and the chains quickly broke. Nadetta was also thrown off. Yunying wanted to use Liao Yuan 100 slash again, but was slapped by the white bear. However, at the moment when she was shot and flew out, she actually used the carbine returning move to project the swept gun in her hand. The red spear turned into a streamer, and inserted into the head from the white bear's eyes. The tip of the fire spar-forged gun exploded with super high temperature, and Bai Xiong felt his brain boiling. Anna summoned the chains again to immobilize the white bear. At the same time, she threw the sickle in her hand to Nadetta under the white bear. Najida stood up, took the scythe in the air, and slashed it directly from the neck of the white bear. The huge bear head fell to the ground, and the red blood flowed everywhere like magma, quickly melting the ice. After watching the battle, Enlan couldn't help clapping for the three girls. The first time he cooperated, he played so well, which was beyond his expectations. Finally dead. Nadetta breathed a sigh of relief, very happy. Yunying came to the bear head with a look of disgust, and pulled out her swept gun. Anna also smiled as she completed an Ian's quest. Next, Enlan fell from the sky and directly devoured the body of the white bear. Then it is to update the favor to the three daughters. Yunying and Anna's ability points have greatly increased, While Nagita has completed the adventure, all ability points have broken through to SS level, and then upgraded to LV2 level. After completing the upgrade, Enlan will take the three daughters to leave the extreme north. But in the next second, he discovered that there were countless people fighting in the distance. He walked quietly with his three daughters, only to discover that the Imperial Army was crusades against the alien races in the north. The leader of the Imperial Army is Estes and her three beastmen, and the leader of the alien race is their prince Numasekar. Enlan was very impressed with this Numaseka. When watching anime in the previous life, in order to highlight the strength of Estes, this Numaseka was also shaped to be very strong. He claims to be a brave man in the north. He brings his own halo as soon as he appears on the stage. He never fails when he holds a gun in his hand. He has a terrible situation strategy and is deeply trusted by people. The result was such a character like Long Aotian. As soon as he appeared on the stage, his self-esteem was shattered by Estes, and he put on an iron ring and became a good dog. The final shot is of kneeling naked in front of Estes, licking her boots, and finally being kicked to death. Estes. Nagita saw Estes, her whole body was not well, as if she was trapped in the memories of the past. The soldiers on both sides were fighting fiercely, but Estes did not take action at all, only the three beastmen took action. Numaseka also showed quite strong strength, with one enemy one person resisted the three beastmen. This strength is not under brand at all. The northern warriors are still somewhat powerful, but unfortunately their opponents are too strong. Chapter 48 Mimic Monster Battle. Enlan looked at Estes, and sure enough, she had the temperament of a super shaking queen. With long blue hair and double pupils, her beautiful face is like an ice and snow elf. She is dressed in a white modern military uniform and beret, and she is valiant. That woman is so strong. Yunying said in surprise when she saw Estes. Yeah. Anna also nodded. Enlan didn't speak, thinking about how to take Estes as a family. In the face of her strong character, it can only be crushed with more powerful force. After fighting for a while, the armies on both sides finally chose to withdraw. Estes didn't shoot from beginning to end, as if he was watching a game. Only Enlan knew that if she did it, the war would be over. The reason why she didn't make a move was just cultivating the army. In the original plot, if it hadn't been for the night raid to assassinate a large number of high-ranking officials and nobles in the imperial capital, which made people panic, it would have been impossible for Estes to end the northern war ahead of schedule, and then be recalled by the imperial capital. This woman is really suitable for the final boss, because she not only shakes her ass, but also likes abuse, torture, ravages, and wars. Every time she fights, she clearly has the strength to destroy the opponent, but she deliberately leaves a living hole and planted the seeds of hatred. Looking forward to the opponent's revenge. As a result, the war would fall into a never-ending cycle. In other words, with a character like Estes, it's not really suitable for Orario to be an adventurer. If she goes to Orario, maybe she will cause some big events like the Dark Familiar. Of course, since Enlan dared to accept it, she had absolute certainty to restrain her. After watching the war on both sides, he teleported back to the night raid base with the three Nagita girls. In the days to come, Enlan intends to continue searching for dangerous species for Nagita to fight. But when he scanned the whole world with his divine sense perception, he found that there were only 3 super dangerous species left in this world, and they were still hidden. There are not many super dangerous species, only 20 or 30. If the beheading continues, it is estimated that the species will become extinct. This world is not like the wrong world. The monsters in the dungeon can be refreshed infinitely, and you never have to worry about killing them. Suddenly, Enlan thought of his clone skills and mimicry. In the later period of Menguang, in order to train his subordinates, he created a maze, and even drove a trumpet to play as a boss in the maze. The dungeon monsters in the wrong world, from the 1st floor to the 59th floor, all kinds of monsters and floor masters, and Lan devoured them. In addition, there are various dungeon monsters and bosses in the world that can be upgraded alone, all of which he can mimic. As long as you separate a large number of clones, and then make the clones mimic monsters, the strength remains the same as the monsters, and let the clones fight with Nagita, Anna, Yuning, and the others. Isn't the effect the same as fighting monsters in the dungeon? When he thought of it, he did it, and Lan called the 3 girls, and then divided 10 avatars and let the avatars mimic. Suddenly, 10 clones turned into 10 different monsters or monsters. Minotaur, Cerberus, Silverback Ape, Wyvern, Skeleton Sheep, Gargoyle, Obsidian Soldier, Lava Giant. In addition to the above 8 kinds of ordinary monsters, there are actually 2 more floor masters, Goliath, and Amphius Balena. Paimon, you will control these clone monsters to fight with them later, don't let water. Enlan ordered Paimon. Don't worry, leave it to me, Lord Enlan. Immediately, under the control of Paimon, the 10 cloned monsters all moved. Nadetta was stunned, because none of the monsters in front of her came from this world, so it gave her a strong visual impact. Especially the 2 floor masters, it's terrifying. The level of these monsters ranges from LV2 to LV5, and you will fight against them every day from now on. Enlan said to the 3 girls. Anna and Yuning didn't react much, because they went to the dungeon to kill monsters almost every day in the wrong world. These monsters in front of them are very familiar and used to it. Will it be too much? Nadetta asked. If you want to improve your strength and surpass Ests, don't think too much, but too little. Enlan gave her a cold look and said. As soon as these words came out, Nadetta was stunned. Ests can be said to be her inner demon. Before Enlan appeared, she never thought that she could defeat Ests one day. But Enlan gave her the way to become stronger and let her see hope for revenge. I see. Nadetta's eyes became firm and sharp. At this moment, she had a desire for strength. When there is desire, there is the motivation to become stronger. The battle begins, 3 women vs 10 mimetic monsters. Enlan watched from the side, pointing out their shortcomings from time to time. Of course, where he performed well, he would also appreciate it without hesitation. After more than an hour, all 10 mimetic monsters were beheaded. The 3 girls were all tired, panting, and dripping with sweat. Enlan took out 3 bottles of Coke from the system backpack, and froze it a little with the cold air. Here. He threw the Coke to them. The 3 women took it, opened it, and took a sip, feeling much more comfortable. This drink is so delicious. Nadetta drank Coke for the first time and was shocked by its taste. Although Anna and Yuning are not modern people, they have long known all kinds of modern utensils and food by following an Ian's side. What's more, Anna is a servant. When she was summoned to Fuyuki City, she knew all the information of modern society. Half an hour, after recovering, continue fighting. And Ian's mouth twitched, looking at the 3 girls with a devilish smile. And just like that, and Ian's super intensive training began. 1 day passed, and the 3 women slaughtered more than 100 mimetic monsters. In the evening, after dinner, Enlan began to renew the favors for them one by one. After the update, it was exactly as he had guessed. Because the 3 girls killed monsters in various leapfrog battles, their abilities increased very quickly. In this way, I believe that the 3 girls will soon be able to fill up the LV2 level of ability value, and then rise to the LV3 level. Nagita felt very happy when she felt the improvement in her own strength. This visible strengthening made her more confident in revenge. At this time, Enlan suddenly took out a magic book and threw it to Nadetta. This is for you, let's see what magic can be awakened. Nagita doesn't have any magic or skills now, so Enlan intends to let her awaken a magic first through the magic book. Nagita took over the magic book, and was suddenly moved. What Enlan did to her, she remembered it in her heart. Whether it's treating her arms and eyes, or taking her to fight dangerous species to gain stats, it's all for her sake. Now, he gave himself another precious magic book. Through getting along with Yunying and Anna these days, she already has some understanding of the wrong world, and she naturally knows how precious the magic book is in the wrong world. As a family member, with such a master god, what more can I ask for? Chapter 49, The Red Thunder is Destroyed. After Nadetta finished reading the magic book, she fell into a coma. Yunying walked over and picked up the magic book. At this time, the contents of the book had all disappeared. I don't know what magic she can awaken. Anna looked expectant. If it were me, I would definitely awaken fire magic. Yunying patted her chest and said. The wait passed quickly, and when Najita woke up again, Enlan noticed a flash of lightning in her eyes. What magic awakened? Yunying asked impatiently. Lightning. Nadetta opened her right hand as she spoke, and a layer of crimson thunder and lightning immediately filled the air. This kind of thunder and lightning is a bit like Mordred's red thunder in the Xingyu world, and its destructive power is very strong. Najita raised her hand to the open space in the distance, and suddenly shouted, "The red thunder is shattered." In the next second, the thunderbolt in his hand turned into a thunder dragon and flew out, blasting a big hole in the open space. Magic without chant, much like Belle's fire lightning, but a little different. Because Najita can use this magic to manipulate lightning and not attack in her hands. As a result, this move is more powerful than imagined. Simply manipulating thunder and lightning can actually evolve a lot of killer moves. For example, if the thunder and lightning are materialized in the palm of the hand, isn't this Kakashi's Rachel and Chidori in Naruto? There is also the use of lightning to stimulate body cells to speed up their own speed. And by manipulating magnetism with lightning, you can gain the same abilities as Magneto. All in all, there are too many derivative abilities of the lightning system. But now Najita is obviously unable to achieve that level. Whether she can do it in the future depends on her own good fortune. After a night's rest, training continued the next day. Enlan has infinite divine power and is not afraid of consumption. If it is not for fear that they will be overwhelmed, Enlan can be cloned all the time. In addition to the clone mimetic monster, he also unleashed the Shadow Soldier Minotaur. Anyway, Shadow Soldiers can be resurrected infinitely, and they are not afraid of consumption. In the afternoon, Najita received news from the Revolutionary Army and was unable to train. She went out for a while and came back with a document. After everyone in the night attack saw it, they knew that they had another mission. Najita sat in the leader's seat, looked at the crowd and said, "This time, the mission is a serial murderer who is talking in the streets of the imperial capital. He was haunted at night and cut off his head. Dozens of people have been killed." After speaking, she distributed the information to everyone to watch. "Are 3 of them from the garrison?" Tajmi asked in surprise. "The members of the guard team have a certain strength, and being able to kill them indicates that the murderer is very strong. The most important thing is that the members of the guard team were killed without doing anything. This shows that the guards are also afraid of the murderer, which can make them fear, which further shows the strength of the murderer. We have obtained information, the murderer is the beheading of Zank." Lubbock said. "Beheading Zank? What is that?" Tajmi asked with a puzzled look. "Don't you know? What a country bumpkin from a back country." Maine sneered at Tajmi. "Sorry, I don't know either." Hill raised his hand in embarrassment. "Hill, you just forgot." Maine continued. In fact, Hill did know that, after all, she had lived in Chinatown in the imperial capital since she was a child, and she had naturally heard of some characters in the imperial capital. She said she didn't know, not because she forgot, but because she didn't want Tajmi to be embarrassed. "I have to say, she is really a beautiful and kind-hearted big sister." Enlan became interested in an instant. Why don't you include Hill in his family? Originally, he planned to save the plot of Hill's death, and then gave her to the Astria family. Now it's a little more itchy, so let's take it yourself. So, what kind of bad guy is that guy? Tajmi asked again. Beheading Zank, the beheader of the Empire's special executions, repeated beheadings every day, and chopped off the heads of those who begged for mercy. After many years, he has developed a hobby of taking people's heads. It explained. That would really go crazy. Tajmi said with an ugly face. Every time I perform a mission, I always come into contact with the darkness of the Empire. It seems that decapitation in prison is no longer enough to satisfy him. Main continued. What a dangerous guy, let's find him and hit him. Tajmi said with enthusiasm. Wait for Tajmi, behead Zank, and stole the warden's Tego, you are not his opponent. Enlan poured cold water on him. In this world, only the Emperor can hit the Emperor. There is also an iron rule, if there is a battle between the Taigo owners and the intention to kill, one of them will die. Because no matter which Taigo has a huge power, it is definitely not a human body that can withstand it. Of course, this rule is only valid for people in this world, with the exception of outsiders like Enlan. I said, boss, do you know what Zank's Taigo is now? Main asked Najida. Sorry, still investigating. Nadetta shook her head. Don't you easily expose your skills. Leona frowned, feeling that things were a little tricky. Because I don't know what the other party's emperor's ability is, if I'm not careful in this mission, it is very likely that there will be an accident. Excuse me, what exactly is the so-called emperor? Tajmi asked again. Chi Tong pulled out his demon sword, Murasame, and said in front of Tajmi, it's this kind of thing. No. I don't understand. Tajmi's face darkened, isn't this a knife? Okay, take this opportunity to tell Tajmi the information about Taigo. Najida said to everyone. Immediately, she began to explain to Tajmi. About 1,000 years ago, in order to maintain a long-term rule, the founding emperor, with the huge financial resources and power of the empire, convened the most senior craftsmen from all over the world, using the legendary super dangerous species as materials, plus rare metals such as ohari steel. And a large number of long-lost secret techniques, developed 48 powerful weapons that cannot be copied, and called them Taigo. After the birth of Taigo, he helped the empire to achieve brilliant victories, but there were large-scale riots in the empire 500 years ago, and many Taigo were lost to the people and even abroad. Nowadays, the imperial tools in the hands of the revolutionary army are no less than the empire. In addition, 400 years after the establishment of the empire, the emperor at that time also tried to make the emperor's equipment, but he was unable to surpass the previous weapons, and produced some weapons that were inferior to the god's equipment, which were later called court equipment. In Najida's explanation, Tajmi finally understood the terror of Taigo. The most important thing is that all members of Yarade have Taigo. No, Enlan, Anna, and Yuning don't. Chapter 50 Copy the Emperor. Seeing Tajmi's envious look, Enlan suddenly asked, do you want Taigo? Of course, I also want to become stronger. Tajmi replied. Then I will give it to you, you owe me a favor, and you will promise me something in the future. Enlan smiled and narrowed his eyes like a fox. Do you have a Taigo? Main looked at Enlan with a look of disbelief. Enlan is indeed powerful, but she definitely does not believe that Enlan has Taigo. Not only her, but the other members of Yarade are also in disbelief. Only Nadetta had a smile on the corner of her mouth. But she knew that Enlan was the real god and there was nothing he couldn't do. You have an emperor, why don't you use it yourself? Tajmi asked suddenly. With my strength, do you think I need that kind of thing? Enlan said disdainfully. Okay, I believe you, if you can give me a Taigo, I will owe you a favor and promise you something in the future. Tajmi finally chose to compromise. He couldn't resist the temptation of Taigo. Enlan smiled, then came to Brand and said, "Show me your sword." Brand was taken aback for a moment, but he still took out his sword and handed it to Enlan. Enlan took the sword with one hand and stroked the sword with the other. Immediately, this Taigo has been analyzed by the Sans Corps. He returned the sword to Brand, and then, in the shocked eyes of everyone, used divine power to reproduce an identical existence. In the original book, Tajmi inherited Brand's Taigo and operated the armor demon haunted. But now that he came to this world, he would naturally not let Brand's sacrifice again. Therefore, Brand's Taigo cannot be inherited by Tajmi, and he can only copy one. This is the eldest brother's emperor, it was copied. Tajmi's eyes widened in shock, as if he had seen a ghost. Not only her, but everyone in Yeshi couldn't believe it. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible, it must be just a show, it is impossible to transform into armor. Main said loudly. Tajmi, try it. Enlan threw the sword to Tajmi. Tajmi took the sword, his eyes flashed with excitement, and then shouted loudly, "Evil ghosts are haunted." The next moment, a phantom of a dragon super dangerous species appeared behind him. Immediately after, it merged with Tajmi, forming a suit of armor covering the entire body on the outside of his body. "Ha ha ha, I also have a Taigo." Tajmi laughed excitedly. Najida also showed a smile, her own main god is so powerful that Taigo can easily copy it. "Brand, you also transform, see if you have been dropped." Main said relentlessly. Brand shook his head and said, "No, the owner of Taigo is not dead, or he has not transferred Taigo, then it cannot be used by a second person. If you change it, you will change it?" Main continued to say unreasonably. Brand shook his head slightly, but chose to transform. Sure enough, the transformation was successful. In this way, the night attack is equivalent to having two armored emperors. It must be known that the armor-type emperors are all top-notch among the 48 emperors. Whether it is defense or attack, they are all extremely powerful. Chi Tong is amazing, the demon sword Muramura will kill with one hit. But in the face of armor-type imperial tools, she will be restrained to death. Because he couldn't break the defense, the demon sword Murasame was equivalent to losing its effect. In the original book, Will's strength is far inferior to Chi Tong, but he relied on Shura's incarnation of the aristocratic chariot, an armor-like imperial tool, which just dragged Chi Tong, making her helpless. Seeing that Brand's transformation was successful, Main completely believed it. The way she looked at Enlan changed, becoming incomparably fiery and adoring. A person who can copy Taigo, that's terrifying. By the way, Zhang's Tego is called the Observer with 5 vision omnipotence. It has 5 abilities: penetrating vision, farsightedness, perspective, future vision, and vision. Obstacles, seeing the future, and activating illusions, so be careful with this mission. Enlan continued to speak in shock. "FK, brother, are you a god? How do you know everything?" Lubbock also had a look of adoration on his face. Chi Tong and Brand looked at him with admiration. "Okay, now that you know the information, let's start planning the mission." Najida suddenly stood up and said. Upon hearing this, everyone became serious and began to discuss plans. Enlan didn't care, and left with Anna and Yunying. In the end, all the staff of the night raid were dispatched, in groups of 2, to find Zhang in the imperial capital. The night passed, and when Enlan woke up the next day, the night raid members had returned. Like the original book, Zhang was beheaded by Chi Tong, but Tajmi was not injured as in the original book, because he had Taigo in advance. Zhang's Tego was also brought back, because the members of the night raid now all have Tego, and Enlan and the 3 of them don't need it, so Nagita plans to send it back to the Revolutionary Army headquarters. In the days when she left, Yeshi was temporarily managed by Chi Tong. With Nagita gone, and Ian's daily training is one person less. However, within a few days, Yerade received another mission, this time to assassinate Ioker, a distant relative of the powerful minister Ornest. This guy used the name of the minister to kidnap women and commit atrocities until torture to death. In addition to him, the 5 mercenaries who guarded him and shared Yu Hui are also guilty of the same crime, and they are also the target of beheading. Lan felt a little weird after hearing about this mission. Because this quest in the original book was before the beheading of Zhang, now the time of the 2 quests has been swapped, and I don't know if it's good or bad. Thinking of this, he intends to follow along on the mission this time. The members of the Night Raid are all his family members, but they can't die like the original. After deliberation, this task was handed over to Main and Tajmi. Main is a long-range sniper, and Tajmi is responsible for protecting Main. As for the guards, it is left to others to solve. After the arrangements were made, everyone began to act. Main took the lead to come to the top of the mountain opposite the Eagle house and set up a sniper position. Tajmi was in charge of protecting her from retreating, and the other members lay in ambush on the road, ambushing the guards who were chasing after them. Lan also followed behind the crowd, making sure they were not in danger. The plot is the same as the original. Main successfully sniped and killed Eagle. When retreating, he encountered guards who were chasing after him, including a master from the Imperial Fist Temple. The master, who had to rely on the combined efforts of Main and Tajmi to defeat, was hanged and beaten by Tajmi alone. Because of the appearance of Lan, Tajmi's strength is much stronger than the original, and he has Taigo in advance. With or without the Emperor, strength is 2 different things. After a few tricks, several guards, including the masters of the Imperial Fist Temple, were all beheaded by Tajmi. Seeing this, Lan, who was hiding in the dark, was also relieved, feeling that he was too surprised. Chapter 51 Devour the Emperor. At the Night Raid base, Anna found Lan and asked inexplicably, "Big brother, since you want to accept the Night Raid members as family members, why don't you directly help them destroy the Empire? Would they really want to come with me if I did that?" Lan asked rhetorically. The members of Night Raid are outstanding, each with their own unique personality. Without the simple revolution of blood and death, they would not have to bear their guilt, and the Revolutionary Army would not cherish this easily achieved result. At that time, were they really willing to go to a strange and different world, rather than stay in this world and witness the changes after the revolution? The main reason why Lan didn't take action to destroy the Empire was that he wanted to establish a bond with the members of the Night Raid, and then change the outcome of their death. After the success of the revolution, in order to appease the old ministers and quickly restore the national order, the members of Yerade will definitely continue to carry all the sins and be wanted by the new empire, just like Chi Tong in the original novel. By that time, the Night Raid members had nowhere to go but out of this world. Of course, in addition to the night attack, the hunter team established by Ists is also full of geniuses. If the empire is directly destroyed, how will they be subdued? So he is not in a hurry, just follow the plot. Just in time, I can also take advantage of this time to cultivate the level of my family, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. After thinking for a while, Anna nodded and said, "I understand." Lan showed a relieved smile and couldn't help but reach out and touch her little head. Anna's face was a little red, but she closed her eyes like a kitten and enjoyed it. The days passed like this for a few more days, and the night attack received the task again. This time the mission was for 2 people, so 4 Night Raid members were dispatched, Tajmi and Leone and Main and Hill. After Lan found out, the plot memories came to his mind. If I remember correctly, Hill was killed by the dog girl in this mission to save Main. When the mission began, Leone and Tajmi were wanted because they did not reveal their true colors, so they went to the imperial capital in broad daylight.